dear friends. You've arrived at a channel where you are sincerely welcome and loved. I hope this video will be a great source of spiritual motivation for you. If you're encouraged by today's message, please be so kind as to subscribe to this channel and help others by sharing it. Incidentally, I do not try to sell any products here, nor do I host commercials. I provide teaching on profound spiritual truths because doing so provides great source of meaning and fulfillment in my life. The content found within this channel all relates to self-mastery, spirituality, and navigating serious life issues. So I truly appreciate your subscribing to this beneficial content. With respect to those listening from Eastern or Asian cultures, and particularly if English is your second language, I'll do my best to speak clearly because you'll be hearing many college-level vocabulary words in this show. So I'll try to slow down my speech now and place each subject in context so it will be easier for you to understand. So, regardless of what you've been through in your spiritual journey or what you're going through now, I'd like you to smile. Get ready. There's something very enlightening coming your way. But first, I'd like to share with you a funny story I heard about, which relates to the metaphysical law of karma we'll be discussing later. It's about a little old lady that became deathly ill. Soon the angels came for her, and she found herself at the gates of heaven. In front of her eyes, she noticed a strong 10-foot tall angel dressed in armor, and he had an amazing wingspan of 20 feet. Upon seeing him, she became startled, but the angel smiled at her and said, "Welcome to heaven, my child." She said, "Did I make it to heaven?" The angel said, "Yes, but first you have to spell an important word." She said, "What word?" He said, "Holy." She said, H-O-L-Y, holy. Then the mighty angel opened the gates and said, "You made it." As she was about to walk through, he asked her for a small favor, which was to watch the gate for a moment. He was going to announce to God and all the other angels so they could rejoice that she had arrived. He then asked her to stand at the gates, and if someone arrived, just follow the same procedure. He then flew with his massive wings over the gate to visit God. Shortly after that, the little old lady's ex-husband arrived, and she was shocked. The man was very bad to her and lived a life of drinking and carousing with other women. She gained her composure and said, "What are you doing here?" Her ex said, "I don't know. I just died and I'm not sure if I made it to heaven." She said, "Not yet. You have to spell a word first." He said, "What word?" She hesitated for a moment and said, "Azerbaijan." What? Huh? Just crickets? No flowers? No applause? Okay, so today we're going to talk about the metaphysical laws you must master in order to find spiritual peace, success, and overall happiness in life. Some spiritual leaders call these the universal laws, and there are many online explanations of what they are. Usually these videos describe a specific number of laws from about 10 all the way up to 15. And in my opinion, the vast majority of these AI generated shows are very mundane and limited. They may have good graphics, but they're really lacking a lot. They rarely take into account how almost all of these laws overlap, intertwine, and are interconnected in a metaphysical way. I've not seen one that shows how to truly apply these metaphysical truths to everyday life. Therefore, in my analysis and study of these important metaphysical laws, I'll do my very best to show you how they correlate with one another and link up so that you can master them more efficiently in your life, and particularly how they apply to specific situations you may be going through. Some of the more obvious laws will be omitted, such as the laws of polarity and gender. Having said that, one thing I can promise you is that you will not find a more complete and comprehensive video presentation available online today surrounding these metaphysical laws. I realize it is a long video, but as much as I've tried, I cannot cut it into smaller pieces. Every law builds upon the next. Okay, so it's imperative you view this in its entirety, or you will greatly reduce any personal benefits. Again, I'd like to stress, maybe take breaks along the way if you need to, but do not skip sections, mainly because I believe you've been divinely appointed to watch this, and the universe has specifically brought you to this exact channel to benefit from these ancient truths. I spent over 6 months compiling and editing this data just for you to benefit from, in an exacting and contextual manner. Did I say that correctly? In an exacting and contextual manner. So, along with over 25 years of personal experience, within this show, you'll be hearing the advice of many great minds that have taught on the subject, just a few of which are Confucius, Gandhi, Tesla, Goddard, psychoanalyst Carl Jung, Deepak Chopra, and also Jesus. Someone just said, how can you combine Jesus in the same group as Confucius and Gandhi? Don't you think you're setting yourself up for severe judgment by God, John? And besides, I am a Catholic, or a Christian, or a Jew, or a Mormon, or a Jehovah's Witness, or a whatever, and I'm sure we know what the spiritual laws are. In fact, the Bible states that there are only 2 to be concerned with. Those 2 are to love the Lord God with all your heart and soul, then to love your neighbor as yourself. So stop trying to cram your metaphysical jargon down my throat, John, because I don't care what you say. And all you're doing is digging a deeper hole for yourself when you come face to face with God. May I be so bold as to answer this rudeness with kindness? I'd like to first reply to this person delivering such judgment regarding my comparison of Jesus with other great teachers. You may want to look at your own scriptures, because even your Bible says to first take the wooden log out of your own eye before you try to help someone take the splinter out of their eye. Also, by delivering unkind and condemning low vibration words to someone else, are you not going directly against your rule of loving your neighbor as yourself? And lastly, dear friend, this video presentation is in no way trying to teach religion or get you to convert to an ideology, nor force any faith-based doctrine upon you. Rather, it's geared towards seekers of spiritual truth that are open-minded enough to listen to profound universal lessons that will also improve their life. This message is not meant toward anyone that believes they have mastered life already, but rather those that are continually striving to improve themselves and make the world a better place. Incidentally, my experience with speaking to people that believe they have already mastered life and cannot be taught anything else is a profound one, which is these are usually the group of folks that are manipulators, deceivers, and have major issues with arrogance and narcissism. Having said that, if you're still closed-minded to the ancient metaphysical advice that I'm about to reveal, then it's better just to close out this video, because I'll never get through to your puny thinking anyway. As we begin our discussion on the metaphysical and universal laws that govern your life on earth and in other dimensions, it's important to keep in mind that in order to achieve self-mastery over your individual predicament, you must wholeheartedly adopt these laws into your daily life. You have to be dead serious about this protocol and very dedicated to your spiritual growth, or none of this will work. Additionally, as important is that you need to be aware that nothing on earth happens, are you listening, unless it's filtered through or interacts with these divine metaphysical truths. Some have said that the universe always conspires to help dreamers and visionaries to accomplish their goals. Some call the universe other names like the All, the Great High God, the Divine Spirit, or the I Am, many other names, of course, regardless of what you call this loving spirit, which only wants to see good things happen for you. I'd like to suggest that it's an invisible force that brought you to this video at the exact right time in your life, a time when you needed it the most. So don't miss 1 minute. Let's begin by discussing the law of averages, which can also be called the law of tenacity or the law of consistency. The law of averages is the misunderstood belief that a particular outcome must occur when observed over a given period of time and at a frequency related to a given probability. Depending on the context, most have a deep misunderstanding of probabilities. This is not a guaranteed concept, and it can lead to something called the gambler's fallacy, when one becomes convinced that a particular outcome must come soon because it has not occurred recently. For example, a gambler playing roulette and betting constantly on black believes that because black has been consistent, then they start placing bets on the color red, only to lose big, because black appears to have an unending streak. When viewed in everyday life, this law implies wishful thinking or a poor understanding of statistics or just plain luck. While there is a real formula that a random variable will reflect underlying probability over a very large sample, the law of averages typically assumes that an unnatural short-term balance must occur, which obviously is a very wrong assumption. Keep in mind that wishful thinking is quite a bit different from the law of attraction and visualization through mindfulness and meditation. We will be discussing that soon, but for now, I'd like to say that the law of averages can be used for your benefit when accomplished in a practical and consistent manner. For example, in a career sense, in order to make significant changes in the number of job interviews you will get, consistency has to be one of the main ingredients. This involves another key law that we won't go into detail on because it intertwines with this one, namely the law of discipline. Please know that this essential consistency in work, sports, or even spirituality is far different from the law of intensity. This means being overly intense about something is far different than being consistent about it. And intensity sometimes backfires by overworking or overanalyzing something. As a personal example of the law of intensity and the law of consistency, I used to compete on a master's level in road races that were between 5K and 10K, right? These were foot races. I held many records for the over 40 category in 3 states. For the most part, I'd average running 50 miles a week, okay, in a moderately aggressive way. Occasionally, when I was preparing for an important race, I'd intensify both my mileage and speed work. This means I'd run over 65 miles a week and do more sprinting. Sadly, a good percentage of the time when I ran intense like this, it would backfire and I would get injured. The law of tenacity, or in this case, my misinterpretation of the laws of consistency, was the exact opposite of what I needed for the big win. Laws of consistency and tenacity will, however, be very beneficial to any student of metaphysics and the practice of visualizations during meditative states. It needs to be done daily and multiple times throughout the day before you see a true breakthrough. This is not just a once-a-day practice while your eyes are droopy before falling asleep. What's so interesting in all the laws we're discussing today is how they amazingly connect and mingle together in a mysterious way. For example, the laws of tenacity and consistency are deeply interconnected with the law of action. To explain, the law of action states that your wishes, hopes, and dreams require more than just thought. Instead, these dreams require a deliberate and purposeful action plan done in a consistent manner. Understanding and applying this law can get you out of the destructive loop of waiting for the right time. Remember Newton's third law that states, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Often we mistakenly believe waiting for inspiration is the key to success, but that's not the case. Look at Thomas Edison's 10,000 efforts before discovering a working light bulb. He never took breaks and embraced the laws of action, consistency, and tenacity. Picture this. You are an oil paint artist standing in front of a blank canvas, waiting for an idea to paint. The more you wait for inspiration, the longer the canvas remains unpainted. But once you at least start sketching an image in pencil, the painting and inspiration begins to materialize. Many people believe this law is about massive action, but it's really about baby steps and consistent action. Success doesn't come from sporadic big moves, but regular small steps. So here's the secret to harnessing the law of action. Start with at least something small, a little step that is a real action, such as a long hike, small oil painting, writing a newsletter before you write a novel. The point is not wait for later, okay? Act now. This may sound simple, but it's powerful enough to significantly change your life. Again, we are being taught that you must act, not just think. And that real concrete steps are essential for making your goals or dreams a reality. Many people that are students of metaphysics or visualization practices rather, believe that their dreams will always magically appear with little to no effort, other than the effort of thinking deeply about them. Let's say it that way. Although deep thoughts and dreams help, they are not quite the entire picture. For example, if you're dreaming of a new pickup truck, men, to be delivered mystically to your front driveway, you can dream until your last breath, and it will never happen. So what is needed for that dream, a new truck in this example, is to perform the actions necessary, such as hard work, to obtain the sufficient funds to buy your truck for cash. Then, once that is achieved, further action is needed because you need to go to the dealership, pick out the right vehicle, deliver the funds for the exchange to take place. This process is rarely, if ever, quick, and I can't stress that enough. What this law reminds us, however, is that the slow yet deliberate, determined turtle wins the race against a fast rabbit that tires himself out and gives up. Even small efforts can add up, allowing us to gain momentum toward our goals. Said slightly differently, little but consistent actions. Remember the connection to the law of tenacity and consistency. These consistent actions accumulate, which results in significant changes over time. Again, it's not about taking a giant step and jumping headfirst into the hopes you have for the future. Rather, it's about taking those ongoing steady steps toward your goals. As another example, you may want to be, let's consider you want to be a nurse assistant today, women or men, and you begin jumping into applying for jobs online, only to realize you need to take the time to study for a year and pass a key exam so that you're qualified to begin another slow yet steady process of formal job applications. Plain and simple, the law of action must be applied in order for us to manifest things on earth, even as it relates to the action of meditative states of mind and visualization. When you take your dreams and energetically put them into motion, you are then getting the grasp of what the law of action consists of. Lastly, this principle additionally emphasizes the importance of staying committed and persistent in your efforts. During the process, it's important to keep a high vibration mindset of joy and value every effort you take, all the while appreciating the beauty of the gradual process. Okay? You're learning patience and resilience at the same time. And once you achieve your goal, it will be appreciated far more than a magical gift that dropped out of the sky. So that was the law of action that's needed for you to routinely apply in order to manifest your dreams. And that brings me to another closely related metaphysical law: the amazing connection between tenacious action and the universal law of manifestation, or the metaphysical law of attraction. Some naysayers may call this the lucky girl syndrome law. There have been many books and lectures on this subject, obviously. One of the most famous is called The Secret. Because of the importance of this law, I'm going to spend a decent amount of time on it to fully describe what it consists of and how to successfully apply it to your life. This may sound somewhat different than The Secret, so bear with me while I reveal other great minds and what they've taught on this truth. The law of attraction or manifestation reveals to us how similar energies resonate and attract, and emphasizes the power of our thoughts and innermost feelings. It is also a well-known philosophy that suggests positive thoughts bring positive results into a person's life, while negative thoughts bring negative outcomes. In other words, a positive mindset will attract more success and happiness than a negative one. This quintessential law applies to all areas of life, including health, finances, and relationships. Said in a slightly different way, the law of manifestation is based on the idea that people and their thoughts are made of pure energy, and that a given vibrating energy can attract another given vibrating energy, which can translate into allowing people to improve their health, wealth, or personal relationships. Some say there's a little-known metaphysical law that's intricately linked to the law of attraction, namely the law of belief. This may sound obvious at first glance, but allow me to take a brief sidetrack and then we'll come right back here. This law of belief teaches that whatever we are dedicated to and fully believe in through both conviction and emotion, eventually that becomes our reality. Thereby, we become co-creators with the Great Spirit and either consciously or subconsciously realize the reality of what we deeply meditate on and believe in. Part of the success you will need while engaging in the law of belief or the law of manifestation is having the foresight to restructure your viewpoints about any situation you're going through. For example, you've tried for months to get a job and begin getting discouraged and feeling hopeless, and instead of living in that low vibrational negativity, negative state of mind, to achieve success, it is mandatory to reframe your viewpoint in a way that you compliment yourself for being both tenacious and resilient, looking at the bright side of things, as they say. During your ongoing job search, remember the law of averages and the law of consistency we just discussed. During the process, you additionally benefited from learning about the responsibilities and requirements of many jobs that are available today. So that's looking at the bright side of not quite getting your job yet. Simply put, this is a healthy mind game you play with yourself, which consists of identifying and then changing the way situations, events, or emotions are viewed. You identify these situations, challenge your negative views, then change them to a belief that somehow you will benefit from the experience. Psychologists refer to this as a combination of cognitive reframing with affirmations and creative visualization, so that you can replace limited or destructive negative thoughts with more empowered, positive, high vibrational thoughts. A key component to seeing or of seeing the positive in an apparent negative situation is that in order to effectively change one's negative thinking patterns, you must also feel positive through creative visualization that your desired changes, your desired outcomes have already materialized. This combination of positive thought and positive emotion will allow you to attract positive experiences and opportunities by achieving resonance with the good vibrations and energies emitted by having a victorious mindset. The law of attraction or manifestation is a proven metaphysical truth. That's right. That if practiced correctly, can make you a magnet for your desires. Don't think of it as wishful thinking, because that is far from what manifestation laws teach, This is a life-changing law because it embraces both quantum theory and quantum laws of mechanics and physics. It's both objective and realistic. And there is some subjectivity, but I'd like to emphasize the objective, realistic side of this and relates to tapping into the invisible quantum energy fields that are proven to reside all around us. And I'll explain that later when we talk about the law of energy entanglement. As a warning, however, what you focus on, okay, the quantum energy fields will return to you. Therefore, if you focus on hate or fear, which of course are related, you will indeed attract both hate and fear. The old saying that applies here is very apropos, and it's simply this: you get what you give, and therefore you receive who you are. As a positive example, mentally think about the love of your life kissing you, and playfully you guys are laughing and enjoying each other, okay? Later that day, you are mysteriously in touch with many other positive events. You may walk by several couples in a park, walking hand in hand and laughing, or you may even see a puppy kissing the face of her master. In a contrary manner, mentally dwelling on hating someone or fearing that some type of doom will befall you today, later that day you mysteriously encounter someone that speaks hateful words to you, or you hear about, maybe fearful about hearing that there was a new coronavirus discovered in Asia that experts say may soon arrive in the US. Think of it like tuning, okay, into the vibrations of a metaphysical radio station that you are deliberately choosing with your mind. Your frequency decides the station you get. Negative thoughts bring you horror music. Happy and joyful thoughts bring you a harmonious symphony. Creative and active visualization is one of the key elements found within this law. This is far from daydreaming, but it's more about vividly seeing your goals in color as if they have already been accomplished. Okay, if your goal is abundance in wealth or a fulfilling career, you have to strive to avoid thinking about your present situation of scarcity. Okay, this is done through relaxing and centering your focus away from you. Okay, clear your mind of who you are presently. Simply begin giving thanks and gratitude to the great divine spirit of the universe for what you have now, okay, and what you'll be receiving in the future, almost as if it has already materialized, and considering it a royal blessing. For example, say thank you for the food you are able to afford and the warm bed you have to sleep in during the cold winter, both now and in the future. Remove your mind from lack and focus it on being joyful about your future dream coming true. Take it a step further and see yourself currently living in that future state of bliss, such as seeing yourself planting trees in the backyard of your dream home. Take that a step further and feel the warm sun on your neck as you're digging holes in the ground. Okay, visualize your arms being strained slightly, and you feel the heaviness of the pine tree, okay, as you are so happy setting it into its new resting place, into the hole that you just dug, in the backyard of your future dream home that you're so grateful and thankful for. Okay, are you starting to see how this all comes into fruition through mindful visualization? That type of practice is very healthy to begin getting in touch with your internal world and its connection to the divine quantum energy around you. And there's little doubt this methodology is a powerful way to shape your future and your external reality. Interrelated with the laws of manifestation and attraction is undoubtedly the law of energy vibration. To begin, I'd like to be so bold as to say that the majority of the world population places walls and separations between the seen, physical, and unseen quantum and molecular realms of existence. As per the world's greatest minds, astrophysicists, clinical psychologists, quantum physicists, molecular biologists, and even neuroscientists, there is no division between these two realms of unseen and seen, of molecular or quantum with physical. Rather, they are profoundly interconnected and linked, that is, the invisible with the physical world. To lay a foundation surrounding the law of energy vibration, I'd like to say both the physical and spiritual or invisible matter that everything consists of, when viewed in its atomic form, okay, let's say in a super microscopic way, it manifests in spirals, vortices, and energy waves. These waves and spirals have also been described as spherical and surrounded by entangled energetic matter. Consciousness waves, human perceptions, which exists in the same quantum space, are said to be part of this magnificent spiral of energy. This spiral or spin attribute is mystically shared with the overall structuring of all matter in the universe. For example, think about the spiral shape of a galaxy containing stars and planets. The human body has innumerable amounts of protons and electrons within it. Listen carefully. Those two produce a connected spiral wave of great complexity that defines our anatomy. The point is that the inner world of our body is profoundly connected in design to the great spiral energy wave of the universe, even the planetary systems. The universal spiral, in essence, restructures itself in more local spiral waves, such as those found within our bodies. Allow me to delve deeper. The local spinning energy within our body, even molecular energy waves, indeed appear to have a perfect correlation with the fundamental universal spiral or spin. For example, the Hubble telescope maps many galaxies rotating and shows even the stars within the galaxies are rotating. And the planets like Earth rotate around the stars. Further, our moon slowly spins or rotates around the Earth. Therefore, the universe itself is inspired with this enormous portrayal of rotation. This stunning spin beautifully ranges from atomic matter scales within our body to the global scales defined by a solar system. In like manner, Consciousness waves, either perceived or unperceived by us, also share this spiral wave attribute. On a personal level, through mindfulness, prayer, or meditation, our minds can begin to interact with the spiral of vibrating energy caught within the law of entangled energy that we're going to talk about soon. This amazing metaphysical law teaches that there is a constant motion and energy in the universe. And if we properly tap into it, there is a resonation within our own energy frequencies. Albert Einstein famously said, "Everything in life is vibration." As an example, the more you resonate positively, the more positivity reverberates back. Okay, as we mentioned in the law of manifestation, just like a radio frequency, if your energy vibrates or tunes into the frequency of negativity, then you'll arrive at a station consisting of static and trouble. Your true energy vibration doesn't come from external stimuli directly, nor necessarily through circumstances. Rather, it emanates from within you and your viewpoints. Therefore, it's essential that you truly resonate with your best and most positive self. A person that is authentic, honest, and filled with love, then simply watch the universe, reverberate back or echo back that same greatness to you. As in the relation to the law of attraction, remember that like attracts like. And according to this law, each person emits a distinct vibration or frequency that resonates with other similar like frequencies. So, as a vibrating being, consider that your thoughts and emotions and actions contribute to the universal symphony, attracting energies similar to your own. This important law also highlights your ability to influence your energetic presence and how it's displayed to the external world. When you find yourself in a situation you don't want to be in, changing your vibrational state through mental practices such as mindfulness and observing your breathing becomes an efficient way to shape your future experiences while also acknowledging the present. Similar yet different is to find yourself in a situation that you love, then encourage your energetic vibration with gratitude and thankfulness to keep and enhance the positive energy of that gratifying situation. Some call that a high vibrational mentality. So to reiterate, the law of energetic vibration states that everything from humans to planets in the universe moves, spins, and vibrates in circular waves or patterns. Your mind and ways of thinking are an integral part of that same vibration. Also, the same principles of energy in the physical world apply to our mental world when considering thoughts and desires. So be very mindful to emit energetic vibrational thoughts into the world with a positive frequency so that the return of those vibes will benefit both you and the collective consciousness. As I mentioned before, it's truly phenomenal how all these universal and metaphysical laws are related and connected. But you'll rarely hear teachings about their interconnectivity. There's an extremely profound link between the law of vibration and the law of entanglement that I'm about to describe. Some will also call this metaphysical truth either the law of oneness or the law of divine connection, but I'll use the law of entanglement because I've done the most research on that. Regardless, all three of these names are related in a profound way. To begin, I'd like to say that there is one divine vibratory energy field. Okay, there is one vibratory energy field that connects all things. Historically, it's been called Logos, Higgs field, the primordial Om, and the music of the spheres. Also dark energy and entangled energy. Approximately 3,000 years before modern day physics or high-powered microscopes were developed, ancient spiritual teachers taught that the universe is vibration. The vibratory field and accompanying law of entanglement is the root of all spiritual experience and even today's scientific investigation. Everything that is matter, such as humans, animals, and natural elements, measured at the quantum level through intense magnification, science has discovered something commonly known as molecular vibration. That means when you look at your friend or your pet, they are not solid matter when placed under super-powered microscopic magnification. Rather, what you would see is a vortex movement, right? As I mentioned before, spirals of each molecule's atoms. Remember the law of vibration that I just mentioned and its display of spherical energy at the quantum energized level when you're thinking about this law of entanglement. It is the same vibrating energy field that spiritual giants like Jesus, Gandhi, and Buddha gained full access to a powerful, invisible world of spiritual energy. Even mystics like Tesla, yogis, and ancient sages all observed this energy by looking within themselves at the Creator and quieting their minds at the same time. Many of history's monumental thinkers, such as Pythagoras, Newton, Da Vinci, and Einstein, came to the threshold of this scientific mystery. Said in a different way, this vibration of energy is connected to a non-stop network of entangled energy waves that extend even above the Earth's surface. In essence, it's not just a colloquial expression that we are connected, but it has been a scientific fact for quite a while, particularly if you know anything about modern physics. These vibrating energy fields, some say they look like mini tornadoes as observed from an aerial view, let's say. These vibrating energy fields move in waves, as I mentioned before, and are virtually connected to other energy fields, all of which are inseparable, thereby being called entangled energy. It's through the law of entanglement that certain energy healers operate and are able to perform miracles. The Christians might call these gifted individuals faith healers, but you can review a few of these effective Methods by researching these topics: laying on of hands, Reiki, R-E-I-K-I, chakra energy access, and Shen therapy, S-H-E-N. Scientists and laymen alike enjoy categorizing, organizing, dividing, and otherwise misunderstanding the law of entanglement. In today's society, it's estimated that 98% of all humanity has ignored or forgotten this ancient, life-changing wisdom. By you beginning to understand and embrace what has been known for eons, you'll begin to experience greater health, spirituality, and self-mastery. The amazing vibratory energy that connects all life, which is now being rediscovered by scientific leaders, is what Buddha called the middle way, what Christ called love your neighbor as yourself, and what Aristotle called the golden mean. The primary reason why 90% of the world's population is unaware or in disbelief of unseen or dark, invisible, entangled energy is because they either do not have a spiritual life or they have a negative, pessimistic, low vibrational mindset. Many say that they are spiritual, or maybe even that they attend church, but sadly, it's quite possible they've never bridged the gap between the visible and invisible worlds. Okay, the gap that needs to be bridged is that there is an unseen connection between all visible matter and entangled energy or unseen matter. So to reiterate, everything seen and unseen, for example, people in front of you and folks living even in distant countries, everything and every person is connected to everything else. This includes connections to the natural world, such as pine trees or berry bushes. This means that one and all is vibrating energy, and all energy is an extension of source energy, the divine, the spirit, or the universe, however you'd like to call that. Similarly, everything we either say or do affects others in the universe around us. That is why it is of the utmost importance to do and say positive and honest things, okay, instead of the other way around. Therefore, the law of divine oneness, or the law of entanglement, teaches us that there is a divine and profound connection, okay, with everything around us. Okay, picture a perfectly spun geometric spider web. If even a single minuscule strand is touched, right, the entire web vibrates, and that energy awakens the spider that created it. Within your life, I'd like to draw an analogy. Your positive or negative words, which are energy vibrations, and your actions not only directly impact you, but ripple out to the world at large via, entangled energy. The Buddhists teach this is how a riot or a war is birthed, through intense hatred by a small group of people. So remember this law within metaphysics. Every time you have a thought, perform an action, or even say one single word, that means your mind and your voice. That means your mind and your voice is not one, nor is it yours in isolation. Okay, that sounds surprising a little bit, I know, but it's not yours in isolation, but rather belongs to the collective consciousness of the universe via the law of metaphysical entangled energy. Therefore, it's essential that you understand it's not about you, but more about us. Okay, this breaks down to even a small event such as foolishly calling someone a name under your breath, okay, or breaking off a tree branch while joking with friends, killing a bee, or even plucking a neighbor's flower. Please see yourself not as an island, but as an integral part of the cosmic entangled energy, which some call dark energy. Also, please be so mindful as to embrace this unity and connection that is energetically entangled with the divine being. If you are intuitive to accomplish this, don't be surprised if your life becomes richer, more caring, attracting more love into your circle of being, and become deeply respected by those around you. Now, let's talk about another important metaphysical law that is connected to both the laws of vibration and entanglement, which is the law of continual energy transformation. This is going to involve some physics, but please bear with me. This key law highlights the ever-changing nature of energy and our influence over it. At the same time, it emphasizes the universe's constant transformation of energy, which changes from one state to another, and it can be measured through physics. This also implies that you can change the energy in your life. For example, your thoughts and feelings contain electrical vibration, electrical vibrating energy like we just discussed. And by choosing to be positive, you can influence the metaphysical energy around you. Contrary to popular belief, we have more control than we realize, particularly in relation to the energy we emit and attract. Similar to the law of manifestation, with conscious and repetitive effort, we can manifest our goals into actual reality. Therefore, this law is a powerful one. It states that within every person, there is the power to change the conditions within their lives. Along with this power, the practitioner of meditation must keep in mind the positive power of high vibration emotions such as love and joy, because those are the vibrations that have the strength to transform energy positively. Low vibrations such as sexual passions, gluttony, hatred, criticisms, and anxieties have the opposite effect, in that they are the dark side of the law of continual energy transformation. Simply put, these negative low vibration emotions cut off your hopes and dreams. And I'd like to add, the practice of drinking alcohol, the practice of smoking cigarettes, marijuana, or taking drugs are all part of this low vibrational emotion mindset that will cut off your dreams and hopes. Okay, that's right. Even spiritual gurus will back that up. The good news, however, is that each of us can reverse this and change the energies being transformed in our lives. This switch occurs through deliberate, conscious efforts of being hyper aware of your thoughts and removing anything that's inconsistent with positivity, happiness, love, or generosity. This means that you can unlock the potential of your life with this profound principle. At its core, this law states that all energy is in a continual state of movement and change. Imagine water, for example. It can be liquid, solid ice, or even a vapor in the form of steam. It's the same substance, right? Just as energy is, but it's translated into different forms via different energies. And in this case, either hot or cold energy. Similarly, thoughts, which physicists have measured as being similar to electrical type energy, have the potential to manifest into reality. If used incorrectly, they have the potential to manifest into negative reality, which we'll discuss in the next law of karma, or if you'll remember the law of karma in the joke of the little old lady at the beginning of this video. I can remember when I was a competitive long distance runner in college, and even up to about 10 years ago, I would consistently think that I was going to win a particular race that I had trained very hard for. When I got to the starting line, I would continue to hold the thought, that same thought throughout the race. Okay, I got this. I'm going to win this. I got this one. Believe it or not, almost every time that I used this principle and the metaphysical truth behind it, I'd end up winning. That said, the real heart of the law of continual energy transformation is having diligence through mindful control. I didn't say mind control, okay? Rather, mindful control. Mindfulness, again, is being acutely aware of your words, thoughts, and actions, even the room and the elements of the room around you, okay, even down to the level of your individual breaths. I'm talking about mindfulness. So it's important to understand that tight control over how you channel your energy is essential to mastering this law. Embrace its ever-changing nature and realize that with the correct intention and focus, you can direct waves of energy toward your desired outcomes. Now, we're going to talk about the most important metaphysical law, in my opinion, and it encompasses 4 metaphysical laws or truths, yet has farther-reaching, let's say, implications. Without mastery of this law, both your spirituality and success in life will be greatly inhibited. This law has 3 names, but I'm going to use the one that I've spent the most time studying and understanding as it relates to oneness with the divine. Namely, it's the law of karma. Christians call this the law of sowing and reaping, and the secular non-spiritual community will also refer to this law as the law of cause and effect. Regardless of the nomenclature, there is a general theme and meaning, and that is that there's a direct link between our words and actions with outcomes that shape the direction of our life. Now, that is a high-level, general meaning, so please allow me to go into specifics. There is an old biblical scripture that says, as you sow or plant seeds, so shall you reap or harvest those full-grown seeds. Karma is the universal Buddhist or Hindu law of cause and effect, or sowing and reaping, which teaches that a person is held responsible for his or her thoughts, actions, and even intentions of your innermost being. So according to your good or bad intentions, okay, your motives, you are either rewarded or punished. This may sound harsh at first glance, but it's the raw truth of how the universe operates. Many people have wrong interpretations of what karma truly is. For example, you might hear it said in a negative light when someone says, oh, that guy just did that bad thing and it's going to bring bad karma to him. I'd like to suggest to you that there is a much better way to think of this important metaphysical truth in both a practical and philosophical sense. If you're somewhat spiritual, you'll at least be able to understand that nothing in this world happens accidentally or coincidentally. There is a reason behind everything, although it may not appear clear to us at first glance, obviously. So remember that karma is not only the result of what we say or do, but it's intermingled and interchangeable with those thoughts and actions behind, what we say or do. To further explain, think of it this way. We are constantly performing karmas, whether those are physically, mentally, or emotionally. That means that your personal karmas, when I use it as a verb, or your overall karma, when I use it as a noun, is responsible for the good and bad outcomes of your life. In other words, good actions produce happiness and success, and bad actions lead to suffering and misery in the present life and afterlife. A person's past actions govern his present, and his present actions have an effect on his or her future. This means that every person is, to a certain degree, the creator of their own destiny. Some spiritualists will call this being a co-creator with the divine God regarding future. In Hinduism or Buddhism, the truth taught is that if you add up all your good and bad actions in the present life, then those results are that you have made the decision of what will happen to you in the next life. The law of cause and effect is different in that it does not go as far as to include the effects of your actions on any type of afterlife event, because it is strictly a secular, non-spiritual version of karma. The law of sowing and reaping is almost the same as karma, as I mentioned. However, some Christians believe they can escape afterlife punishment by repenting. Okay, listen carefully. They may talk about sowing and reaping, but repentance is their scapegoat. The problem I saw and even practiced on a personal level when I was in the Christian church for over 25 years is this. I sometimes lived like a dog and drank, sometimes even got high and sowed my wild oats all over the place. By the way, I knew several other Christians that did the same. Then we all acted holy in church. Anyway, I would always use the excuse that all I needed to do was repent. And as long as Jesus was in my heart, then my eternity was secure. Various Christian sects call this the once saved, always saved doctrine. But I do not believe this is true, okay? As a harsh example, some men or women feel that they have the liberty to slap their kids or spouse around, sex around town, drink a bunch of booze and then talk trash or profanity, then afterwards simply run to repentance as a way of relieving their stinking conscience. May I say, this is the height of hypocrisy. And it's rather irritating to me. So I'm trying to avoid a low vibrational state of mind here. It is directly contrary, this whole hypocrisy that I'm talking about with sinful lifestyle, then running to repentance as a scapegoat. Okay, it's in direct contrary to the law of karma. and even the true spiritual law of sowing and reaping. Okay? You get what you give, all right? You are who you emit into the universe. And if you emit disgusting and profane actions, you're going to receive nothing but negative disappointment. Therefore, always remember that karma is the purest and most truthful form of these metaphysical laws, and by avoiding it, you are placing your future in jeopardy. Okay, so just simply be mindful that every action has a reaction or consequence. If you are thinking successful thoughts or are already performing the actions of someone successful, even emotionally knowing you're a success, the end result must be that you arrive at the success you are so attached to, okay? Because you live by that successful and honest creed. The universe has no other choice than to deliver unto you, especially if you're ethical, exactly what you dream about. In essence, you reaped or harvested the seeds you planted with your honest and ethical mind. Regarding cause and effect, you can't have one without the other. Think of a compliment you gave someone, okay, let's call that the cause. For example, you tell someone that they're intelligent and performing outstanding work. Well, the effect could be that they smile, compliment you back, or feel exceptionally well inside their heart. You planted good seeds. You created good karma for both you and the other person. Now that's what I'm talking about. In this example, there was a variety of outcomes or effects, okay? You planted the seed, the cause was the compliment, right? The effect, smile, recipient's positive feeling, and maybe even a returned compliment. Consider this metaphysical law as the backbone of our reality. That is why it's probably the most important to all the metaphysical laws you must master. You see, every word and every choice you make has a sparkling cascade of potential outcomes. By what I mean that the law of karma dictates a simple truth. Every action we take or every choice we make will certainly initiate a sequence of events and an actual ripple in the vast ocean of existence. These words, emotions, and actions not only affect you and those around you, but even the collective consciousness of the entire global population. Therefore, keep this in mind, because even your bad intentions or motives can set off a chain reaction that could result in your downfall, even worse, your demise. So I'd like to suggest that if you haven't already, please carefully start creating positive ripples in the ocean of life. Then watch the world change around you, okay? Remember the law of continual energy transformation during this. Now, linked to this key metaphysical law is an unkind practice that I'd like to spend a moment on, and something you must avoid doing. It's regarding the subject of ghosting and how it applies to karma. As you know, ghosting is the act of avoiding, ignoring, or disappearing from someone trying to contact you. The reason why most people ghost others is they don't want to face having to reject them, or they, the person that disappears, believe themselves to be more important than others, and therefore place a low emphasis on communicating with the lesser important person. This occurs in both business, personal, and love relationships, when voice messages, texts, and emails are ignored and or deleted without a reply. In a few cases, I feel there's an exception to ghosting someone, particularly in cases of a total stranger trying to sell themselves or their goods and services to you, which you perceive as having little to no value. Okay? That would be maybe the only exception. The key point is that even with ghosting, you have to always keep in mind the ancient truths that I've previously discussed regarding the law of karma or cause and effect. Remember that the vast majority of the people living in this world are not stupid, and they will know that you deliberately and are deliberately avoiding and ignoring them, especially if they have had past communication with you in a particular way, such as texting or voice messaging. This leaves the impression that you, if you are the person ghosting someone, are a person that is disingenuous, deceitful, impolite, or arrogant. Here is how this can backfire and deliver bad karma. You never know when you can bump into that person that you've so impolitely ignored, let's say. They may end up being in a position of power over you someday. Think of if you know anything about the Bible, think of the story of Joseph and his 11 other brothers. Okay? They may be in a position of power over you someday. Maybe even someone that is a hiring manager, are you listening, for a job you really want. Similarly, they may end up standing behind you at a grocery store checkout line, which will make for a very uncomfortable encounter. Never forget the ancient wisdom that says, whenever you think about yourself, you should also think about others. This means be noble, be courageous, and reply to those people that are trying to reach you, even if it's a simple text that says, no thank you. Because someday, when you need to reach someone in a life or death situation, they may abruptly ghost you because of returned bad karma and, of course, its connection to the universal law of entanglement. Someone just said, can you tone it down, John? You're making it sound like I'm going to be judged by the Almighty soon, or may end up in a bad car accident because I'm living a life that is contrary to the good side of karma that you had just described. Who do you think you are, John, suggesting that cause and effect might deliver retribution for the wrongs that I do? May I reply to this person by first saying my experience has been that the dog which barks loudest is usually the one that got hit by the rock. There are two sides to the law of sowing and reaping, karma or cause and effect. This is not hearsay or conjecture, but a proven law of the universe. In other words, no matter how much you try to hide things, they get revealed and screamed from the top of the mountain. Simply put, you just can't get away with anything anymore, because there is indeed an all-seeing divine eye of justice. You might think you're getting away with something for a while, maybe even for a couple of years, but it always comes back to bite you. That harvest of bad seeds you planted may come back later, but the dirty crops will be far more than what you anticipated. In a word, the universe wants us to understand that life is all about sending out good vibrations and love and honesty and kindness. Okay? Just as before, there is a keen interconnectivity with this law and the one we're going to talk about now. Namely, it's time to review the metaphysical law of compensation. Some call this the law of rewards and damages. Just like karma, the law of compensation ensures balance and fairness and encourages us to practice positivity and generosity in our life. When you think about this law, I'd like for you to imagine in your mind's eye a balance beam scale. Okay? Kind of like the scale of the Libra, if you can remember that through your zodiac knowledge. Imagine in your mind's eye a balance beam. In all actuality, this is the metaphysical law of synergy as applied to karma, particularly with regards to blessings and abundance that we receive, or if you're on the bad side of karma, it refers to the cursing or discipline we receive. For example, our careful efforts of kindness and generosity that we give to others have the mysterious return effect to come back to us, but multiplied by a factor of at least 2. Think about giving money to a struggling single mother or picking weeds for a neighbor because they have a bad back. As a hypothetical example of how this might be returned to you, suddenly you get a royalty check in the mail for double the amount you gave to that single mother. Maybe you've been wanting to buy a new car and you set a budget for $30,000 for it, and when you begin looking for the exact type of car you wanted, you find out that one of your local dealers is offering a $10,000 discount off the new cars if you trade in something, if you have a good trade-in, let's say. The car you thought you'd have to spend $30,000 for, in this case, only cost you $20,000, but even less because they gave you a generous credit for your old car traded in. Okay, that's the law of compensation in action. And of course, it's tied to having good karma and the universal law of entanglement and so many other laws. And this universal law goes both ways, of course. In this example, it was a blessing and not a cursing. What's interesting is that this law of rewards and damages usually returns back to us in different forms, okay? But the compensation matches the same passion and energy we originally delivered to others or the universe. This law never works for people that are stingy or greedy, however, because it's intricately linked with generosity and love. To increase your compensation, you must increase the value of your honest contribution, not a fake contribution to manipulate ROI. For example, at work, or even if you're a teacher or a coach, always do more than what's expected of you. You may think it's not worth it, or you're not getting paid for that extra effort. Okay, I understand that, but the universe has a strange way of knowing your kindness and compensating you abundantly for it. So again, this key metaphysical truth is all about balance and fairness. The divine being of our universe is always searching, okay, for those few people out there that are living a life on earth in ways that benefit others, okay? And it strives for equilibrium, ensuring that every action, good or bad, is met with an appropriate outcome. Now, I've mentioned the bad side of karma a couple times, but I want to be clear about something. This law is not about retribution or punishment. Let's call that damages, but more about maintaining harmony in the vastness of our existence and the collective existence of others. The universe operates on its own timeline, so the consequences of your good or bad actions may take time to manifest, which we will discuss later in the law of gestation. So to reiterate, this metaphysical truth encourages you to be mindful of the energy you put out into the world and making sure it is in line with the kind of return you wish to see. It's imperative, however, not to only focus on your actions, but also the motives or intentions of your heart. Because this is kind of important. For example, don't go around giving $100 bills to single parents, single mothers, let's say, as a form of inauthentic generosity, because the great Almighty sees this as hypocrisy and might return a negative reward to you as compensation. So it's both your actions and internal motives of your heart that are important here. Okay, if you want to benefit from and master this law, this is an invitation to align your actions with the highest values of integrity, morality, and kindness. And if done honestly, you can be confident that the universe will reciprocate this and you'll live in peace at the same time. Your contribution to the world and its citizens is part of a larger, harmonious, and reciprocal exchange. This also holds true to your contributions to the natural world, such as not killing innocent animals like deer or doves, and not harming plants such as flowers you trample on hikes in nature. To mention something key again, I'd like to say that contrary to popular belief, the law of compensation, rewards and damages, isn't about relentless hustle and forcing the issue to do good so you get a reward returned to you by the universe. It's about honest, genuine effort from the heart and without hidden motives. Your honest efforts can be physical, such as helping a coworker with a project that he or she needs assistance with, but it extends to levels of morality and emotions. So the key to tapping into this important law is about honest exchange. Okay, the universe has a remarkable way of balancing things out. Give positively, and positive things gravitate back. Offer value, and watch your rewards manifest in unexpected forms. That brings me to another important metaphysical truth, namely the law of rhythmical flow. Okay, this key universal law identifies that there are natural cycles and patterns within life and teaches us to flow with those rhythmic patterns. Okay, the law of rhythmical flow focuses on life's natural ebb and flow, like the waves of a universal ocean. It implies that everything from circumstances to relationships to life's victories and occasional failures, everything follows a rhythmical pattern defined by alternating cycles of ups and downs. As in the example of the changing seasons we experience, life has a natural rhythm and flow, like a tempo or an unpredictable cadence. This, of course, influences many aspects of our way of life. I'd like for you to consider this law a reminder that life occurs in both cycles and waves, sometimes a birth, sometimes a death, sometimes a victory, sometimes a failure, all of which are used by the divine to teach us something that we take forward to be stronger and more intuitive. By understanding these rhythms, it can help you navigate challenges, and better yet, during a rough spot, this understanding of the circle of life indeed allows you to appreciate moments of joy. I can remember recently that I experienced a long, cold winter. The waves of snow and rain didn't stop for over 4 months. But miraculously, before it truly warmed up, there was a reprieve for about a week, okay, before it started to rain and become cold again. And it was in the low to mid 60s actually, and I was so joyful during this week. I went outside every day. I enjoyed seeing my pond and the goldfish surfacing when I was feeding them. Even was blessed with 9 peacocks that entered my yard from a neighbor's farm, almost as if they were a heavenly gift to behold, and a reminder that the season was changing and spring was arriving. So just as day follows night, remember that challenges such as a lonely cold winter will be replaced by breaks and times of joy, which will give you the opportunity to give thanks and gratitude to the universe as you ponder the wonder of life and the ebb and flow of existence. I'm therefore encouraging you to do something that may be contrary to what you're used to. And most folks resist and fight the tough times, okay, and tough people instead of embracing these situations as part of the law of rhythmical flow. There's an old proverb here that is very true, and that simply is this: whatever you resist will persist. Similar to the law of vibration, the law of rhythm or rhythmical flow demonstrates that everything vibrates and moves to a certain pattern or rhythms. At times, these rhythms demonstrate stages of development and patterns of our existence, just as the tide does what oceanographers call the ebb and the flow. This is a pattern, okay, cycle or rhythm that's guided by the moon and cosmic forces. When you have mastered this law of rhythm and flow, you begin to rise above negative or challenging seasons because you're able to control emotions like anger, worry, or disappointment, thereby keeping such negativity from penetrating your consciousness and turning you into a low vibrational being that does not see their dreams manifest. Think about how the world around you struggles and strives for monetary success. Maybe that's you. This is rooted in a belief of lack or scarcity, then people pushing to overcome that lack. Remember the proverb of whatever you resist persists, okay? Poverty in this case will persist. The more you strive for money, this is a universal truth, the more you will feel lack in your life. The more you desperately fight to hold on to success, for example, the harder the eventual fall. Similar to an overzealous dieter that rebounds into binge eating, or a workaholic who eventually burns out and quits out of frustration. We often become our own stumbling blocks. So if you believe that your life's rhythm is a constant upward road to success, you're wrong, and you're setting yourself up for emotional trauma. If you believe you're always going to get a job promotion and eventually be running that company, don't be surprised if you end up getting demoted. Okay, remember, everything is a season. It may not be your season yet. Sometimes we make several $100,000 only to lose almost the same amount. This too shall pass, as they say. The true essence of this metaphysical truth is to embrace the highs and lows, the ebbs and the flows. Part of the key is to never hold on to dear life of anything: a spouse, a job, a pet, a beloved friend, or a valued piece of furniture, let's say. Never hold on dearly to anything because you can lose it. That is what I'm talking about regarding resisting, okay? Rather, the best form of mastery here is to harmonize and simply go with the flow. You're going to win. You're going to lose. You're going to get a spouse. Hopefully you'll keep the spouse. Simply go with the flow, let's say. You'll have arguments with her or him, but you'll have times of joy and bliss and getting along very well together. Remember these truths: ebbs and flow, rhythmical flow. As you align your life's rhythm with any and all circumstances, it will give you a positive flow of harmony and peace. Now, tightly connected to this law is the next topic, which is called the law of relativity, which is far different from Einstein's theory of relativity regarding time and space. Rather, the law of relativity encourages us to view our challenges as unique to our personal journey. This universal law states that each person will receive a series of challenges or tests of initiation, all for the purpose of strengthening the light within. If you believe the saying of what does not kill you makes you stronger, then you're embracing the metaphysical law of relativity. There are tests in life, which is obvious if you're an adult. We must therefore consider each of these tests to be an opportunity for growth and to remain connected to divine love during the tests. Christians call these trials and tribulations, okay? These tests, they call these the trials and tribulations of life, let's say, and they'll lean on the Bible, okay, during these afflictions. When attempting to personally solve these tribulations or problems, however, this law also teaches us to contextually compare our problems to other problems. For example, I just fell down running and I have a huge bump or contusion on my forehead. It looks and hurts real bad, but when I compare it to plastic surgery on my face, it's nothing. It's all relative, as they say. So it's essential in this life of potential ups and particularly the downs to place everything into its proper perspective. Thereby the metaphysical law of relativity can become mastered. Think of it this way: no matter how bad we perceive our current financial situation, there is always a comparison to our past when we were in a worse position. So, the metaphysical law of relativity is therefore based on the idea that our perspective shapes our perception of life's events. It proposes that nothing is inherently good or bad, rather the positivity or negativity is determined by how we interpret the situations based on our own experiences and personal beliefs. This key principle encourages you to accept your challenges as part of your individual journey. This means your challenges are placed into the subjectivity of your psyche, and it's important to note not to ever compare yourself to someone else. Simply compare your predicament to yourself or your past. If you get trapped into regularly comparing yourself to others, it becomes counterproductive. Your particular spiritual journey is unique to just you. So learn to value your specific accomplishments or even tough lessons learned rather than comparing them to those around you or even someone famous. Be therefore grateful for earning just $100 a day, and don't compare that to a multi-millionaire earning $10,000 a day. Remember again that authentic happiness flourishes not through comparisons, but through embracing gratitude for our own unique journey. Your positive and grateful perspective for being thankful with just a little income might indeed triumph over how someone very wealthy would maybe complain about earning $500,000 per year. In life, we often compare our lows with other people's highs. It's a setup for disappointment and discontent. This also means that if you believe happiness is about having more, you're mistaken. The real essence of happiness is the relative perspective you hold. So the secret to amplifying your happiness is this: stop comparing, stop complaining, and start appreciating and giving thanks. When you appreciate what you have, instead of focusing on what others have, you'll find that happiness naturally starts to flow into your life. And the universe will find you worthy of more. Now, lastly, I'd like to discuss the law of connection, which is linked to many of the other previously described laws, such as vibration, manifestation, and rhythmical flow. This metaphysical truth signifies the connection between our inner and outer worlds, reflecting the power of introspection. Some call this the law of interconnectivity. When you are thinking about this law, I'd like for you to consider the connection between the internal and external aspects of your life. Just as with karma, this law teaches you both emit and receive what's going on inside your heart. This principle reminds us of the genuine connection between our thoughts and emotions with external reality. This metaphysical law also is intricately attached to the law of entanglement, or even the law of manifestation. And according to this key law, the ideas and beliefs that we cultivate within ourselves tend to manifest in our external experiences and relationships. This understanding prompts us into ongoing introspection and encourages us to examine our beliefs, attitudes, and repetitive thoughts. This metaphysical law of interconnectivity also suggests that all elements, which includes your mind of the universe, are intertwined like threads in the vast web of life. Okay, remember the law of entangled energy. All these intricately weaved energy threads or energy fields can be viewed as an unending masterpiece of art, and these energetic elements are contributing to your existence, and that cannot be ignored if you want to achieve mastery over the external and internal worlds that you're part of. And part of what this means is that you must be consciously aware and mindful of your every word, action, and even thought, all of which are ripples that we've created, just as when a rock is thrown in a pond, spreading outward, which of course cannot be stopped or destroyed because energy is scientifically proven to be unable of destruction. Never forget that your decisions have far-reaching consequences, so always do good and think right, and you will be well on your way to mastering this law of the universe. Please remember that anything you do, place you go, word you say, or emotion you hold dear becomes part of the large expanse of dark energy in the universe, that entangled energy. Therefore, you can either add harmony or discord to the collective consciousness by just your individuality. In a word, your inner world is a profound reflection of the outer world, and your inner world disseminates outward in either positive or negative waves. This means to be extremely cautious of what you think and even who you are as a person. So let me ask you a question. Are you proud enough of your inner thoughts and motives to have them broadcasted on a TV show? If not, you're greatly missing the point of this crucial metaphysical truth, and maybe you want to reconsider the way you're conducting your thought life. Needless to say, but I'll say it anyway, embracing this concept can cause a profound transformation in our perspective and encourages us to act with kindness, wisdom, and consideration, because we understand that our contributions are critical to the synchronization and beauty of the cosmic symphony in life. As another example, if you're one of the few people in this world that is truly happy and content with their current life, just as it is, without yearning for more, then the inner peace is reflected in the natural world around you. When you walk outside, for example, the grass indeed is greener, and the sky indeed is actually bluer, even on a cloudy day, all because you chose to be content and find peace, regardless of how others might judge your situation to be lacking something. Remember, however, that every one of these laws have a gestation period and are part of divine timing. This helps us to appreciate what we eventually are gifted with, instead of what most folks do, and they avoid gestation. They try to get something quicker, like get rich quick, or rushing into a marriage because someone's sexy, or maybe even rushing into a career and later realizing it was a major mistake. Said in another way, your every thought, word, feeling, and action takes time to manifest. Remember the law of manifestation. But the most important thing is that you have planted good, high vibrational seeds into the intricate energy web of the universe. So to wrap things up today, I'd like to first thank you if you're still listening and have not fast forwarded to this part. By absorbing this message in its entirety, I can virtually promise you that you are well on your way to mastering the metaphysical laws that most people are oblivious to. I would suggest you rewatch this video in about 30 days to check your progress. Please allow me to conclude by saying your rewards are on the cusp of fruition, as is your breakthrough, especially if you hold fast and regularly practice meditation, practice mindfulness, and practice keeping a keen focus on mastering these highly important metaphysical laws of the universe. With sincere love and gratitude, thank you for the chance to serve you and improve your life.